police tape back there so you can't sniff it. How's everybody? Good. Okay. How's everybody? Good. So much better. So much better. Somebody tell me something good. I'll come back to you. If you're afraid to talk to me. Sometimes I'm good.
I have a fire consultation.
Fire consultation on Friday. Awesome. Awesome. Congrats. Air 5. Air 5. Who else? Somebody tell me something good.
3 closings on Friday.
3 closings on Friday. High 5. Good.
Yes. I discovered a lost $14,000 check.
Heck yeah.
Forgot about it.
Must be nice.
Okay, well, I'm glad
I know.
you found it.
Me too.
He's buying lunch, everybody. What else? What else? Somebody else tell me something good. Really? Nothing? Yes.
I'm finalizing all of my plans for next year.
Yes.
Actually, everything's done. So.
It is? Awesome, Tiffany. Good job. What else? Anybody else? Something good? I would tell you something good about my dog, but I'd probably start crying, so I'm not going to tell you anything good about my dog. Just to say that my 15-year-old Bijan had a scare over the weekend.
Aww.
We thought it was going to be a really bad day yesterday. Turned out it wasn't, because the vet walked in and my dog was wagging his tail and he said, "It's not time yet."
All right.
Yesterday was a bad day. Yesterday was a bad day. Turned out to be an okay day, so that's good, yes? Alrighty, so we're so excited, so excited that we have a very, very special guest in the house today. And we're going to get to him right quick. First of all, you want to click for me?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
I don't want to hand you anything.
No, I'm not touching it. I'm not touching it. So, as usual, please turn your cell phones off, or it's $50 to KW Cares, Peachtree Road. And I have really good hearing, guys. Okay. Alrighty, Jason, thank you again.
Again, back to back
that's awesome. Yeah, thank you.
Can I brag for a second?
Brag.
I got 2 things to brag for a second. One, I'm an account manager here for Trademark, but one of the things that I do in the afternoons is for 20 years I was a high school teacher and football coach, and my son's team just made it to the state championship game last week.
Oh, that's great.
We came up a little short, but that was pretty cool. He got to play down at Georgia State, and
So Marietta won, right?
and Marietta. Well, we were Class A, and Marietta 7A. Yeah, we don't want any part of that. I don't think anybody does. So that was kind of a cool experience for our school and for the youngins. So again, I'm Jason Turner, and it's not just me today. I brought a tag team buddy with me as well. I'm going to introduce him here in just a second. We're with Trademark Companies. We have 3 divisions: home inspections, renovation, and a neat little company called RadonSucks.com, because cancer sucks, right? And Connie's going to tell you more about that in a second. To brag a little bit more, in early November, we went over 11,000 inspections for the calendar year. There's nobody in Atlanta that's done as many as we have this year. We've been on fire this year. Our business is just picking up. We're new in your office. We didn't come on until kind of late summer, early fall, so we're still getting to know everybody here, but we're excited to be here and work with you. We would really love an opportunity to work with you on the buy side for the inspection side. And then if you've got a radon issue on the listing side, when that comes back, we want to help you there too. And so I'm going to turn it over to Connie right now, and he's going to tell you more about the radon side.
Thank you again. My name is Connie Couch. My son Cal actually owns the company now. I started it years and years and years ago. He taught me how to come out of retirement from St. Simon for 8 years to come back up here and start a company called Radon Sucks. First thing I told him, I said, I'm not going to wear a shirt that has Radon Sucks on it. Well, you see, it didn't want that bad. But radon is a real issue today. If you don't really understand exactly what's going on with it, EPA has gotten involved in it. The safe levels are currently 4 and below. We're finding ratings all the way up to 14, 16, 18. One of the things we've always been able to do is service real estate agents. I owned a termite pest control company for over 40 years. It later became Cal's, and so we've always serviced agents. One of the reasons we got into the radon business is because we saw a need for it. because what's happening now is radon levels are starting to get identified. We're starting to realize that it's a huge issue. While smoking has gone down 40%, cancer and lung cancer has gone up 15 to 18%. So there's a push-pull there somewhere. American Cancer Society tells us radon is part of that issue. What we do is Cal didn't decide he's going to get in the radon business overnight. If anybody knows Cal, he was team leader of Keller Williams in Sugarland for 5 years. If he's going to do it, he's going to do it right. He went off to Minnesota and to New Jersey to schools to learn how to be a measurer and a mitigator, and we just do a great job. Our product is far superior than anything else that's offered on the market. A normal mediation is going to cost you, in some of these other companies around $1,000. Ours is up around $1,200. The difference in our product and their products is way much better. But number one is that we protect you as a real estate agent. How do we do that? We need to make sure that that you're protected, that the radon levels are safe. We guarantee our product for 5 years. That means we guarantee the levels below 4 for 5 years. That's for service and product. So there's nobody else in the marketplace that I'm aware of that actually does that. When we go out and test, we don't use just a charcoal kit. We use a product called Rattlelink where we test it, and it has to be in 48 hours, and it's a third-party transaction, so there's not a conflict here. Be sure to realize that our goal is to take care of your seller and your purchaser. So when you do your amendments, it's important for you to realize if we've got a high radon reading, it comes in at 14 or 16. If we're going to try and get that down before closing, we can't, down to the safe levels, then we will come back and we will write a letter on our letterhead, talk to the seller and purchaser if we need to, and protect you by telling them we will bring those levels down to a safe level. Nobody else does that in our marketplace. No one. Our average price is around $1,200, and sometimes we see that split between buyer and seller. Radon is not going to be a deal killer, but it is if you're not careful about it. And there is some litigation issues there. So there was an issue up in the North Gwinnett market, but I won't get into that. But we make sure that we protect you as a real estate agent. If you like what you hear, we appreciate the opportunity just to earn your business, and I think you'll see a huge difference. We're available. I had an agent, y'all probably know Teresa Smith, called me the other night at 10:30 at night. She said, I hate to call you at 10:30. And I said, you call me anytime. If you're working, I'm working. So you can call me anytime. Make sure you have some cards. I have some information here, a couple of late handouts for you. This is one that you'll particularly be interested in. This shows where the high radon levels are in Georgia. Unfortunately, we're right in the middle of it. This is another handout that you're welcome to. I'll leave it up here for you. It's a guide for the home buyer and home seller's guide to radon. This really answers any question you may have. If you have any questions this doesn't answer, you're welcome to give me a call. We just appreciate the opportunity to run this business. A large percentage of our business does come from Keller Williams. We love Keller Williams, especially since my son was a team leader for them for so long. So we just appreciate the opportunity to be here, and thank you.
Thank you. Any questions?
So lunch is available outside. We got Publix chicken tenders, and look at me. I will take it home if you don't eat it. I promise. So help yourselves.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Happy holidays. Charlie, do you feel better?
I'm here. I do. I do.
Yay.
Now I passed it on to my kids now.
Of course you have. Thank you so much.
But I feel better. Thank you. Hi guys, I'm Charlie Pollard. I'm a closing attorney with McMahon McLeod Heller, MMH. I would love to handle your next closing. I've got one little tip, and I'll get out of your way. This is particular this time of year. This has happened twice in the last week. So it's kind of in the weeds on the settlement statement, but this can save a little bit of a surprise if you pay attention. So a lot of times closings get moved, a couple weeks, up, back, and forward. Well, at the end of the year, it kind of matters for prorations of taxes. We had a closing this week where it was scheduled, the contract date came in, it was supposed to be in the middle of January. So when we switch over to January, what happens on the taxes between buyers and sellers, the seller is actually giving the buyer a credit for their share of the taxes because ultimately the buyer is going to be the one who pays the 2020 tax bill. So the seller has to pay them a prorated share based on how many days of 2020 the seller owned the property. Well, what happened, this happened twice this week, where the closing got moved from January 15th to 3 weeks earlier, so basically now, this week. So what happens at the end of December is that a credit goes from the buyer side to the seller because the seller's already paid the 2019 taxes. So if you follow me a little bit, so what happened is that initially the initial disclosure goes out, you know, at the beginning of the process, and the buyer sees a credit for like the higher the tax bill, the bigger those numbers get. It's like a $500 credit. So then we get down to the closing, and you know, there's the back and forth of getting the final numbers, and somehow they had that number stuck in their mind, so they had to write a check for $500-600. And it's kind of hard to explain, like I'm trying to now, but it's even harder to explain to people that do this once, you know, every 20 years, 15 years to buy a house. So just know that if you're switching dates backwards, forward, if something goes from December to January, January to December, when you get that when you get that settlement statement, make sure those prorations, the credit's going the right way. If you have questions about stuff like that, even if it's not happening at our firm, just give me a call and I'll take a look at it and help you out. So that's all I've got today.
Happy holidays. Anybody have a question for Charlie? We good? Alrighty, Supreme. Come on down.
Hello, good morning,
Hello.
everybody.
A little skinny this morning.
All right, so tomorrow is Personal and Professional Best. We'll be recapping the entire year of Personal and Professional Best, all of the highlights. It'll be at 3 p.m., so write that down so you can come. We are giving away over $13,000. So 3 p.m. tomorrow in charity money. We will have the trivia contest, which everyone loves. Who can't love that?
Right.
And we will be having an ugly sweater contest. So please bring your ugly sweater, and we'll be giving away charity money for the person that wins the ugly sweater contest. It'll be wine and cheese. So if you weren't coming for the money or the ugly sweater, come for the wine and the cheese.
Come for the wine.
So
why is it important to get so many people?
Because you win points based on the number of people that answer correctly.
And how fast you answer.
And how fast you answer.
Right.
So the more people we have in seats answering correctly, the more points we get, the more money we win. And this time of year is a great time to win charity money to donate to our favorite charities. You can win individually for your own charity, and our market center can win for our charity. So there's
Tomorrow's our day.
Tomorrow
is Peachtree
Tomorrow
Rose
we
Day.
are going to be number one. So please come. I would love to see everybody there.
Right here.
Right here, 3
Right
p.m.
here. 3 p.m. Wine and cheese.
Wine and cheese.
Perfect. So since it's Christmas time of year, figured we give some stuff away.
Awesome.
Gonna spin the wheel here.
Spin the wheel.
But
All right.
Vanna, ready?
Yep.
All right. So what is the new Fannie Mae maximum loan amount?
New loan limit for
Starts with a
2020.
Starts with a 5.
All right, what do we got back here?
500.
Say again.
524.
Higher.
Slower than 524.
I thought it was 550.
I thought you said 500.
No.
I thought
No.
All right,
Speak up loud so we can hear you.
545.
Nope. Lower.
515.
Lower.
505.
Higher.
510.
Ooh, really close.
500.
A little bit.
530.
Oh my
512.
511.
510, 400. You said 510. Who said 510? You said 510.
Somebody said 510.
Okay, come on up. You can spin the wheel.
Who said 510?
Someone said it.
He's coming up.
You said 510. Come on up.
All right.
You want me to spin the wheel?
Spin the
Don't spin it
wheel.
too hard. We'll be standing here for a month.
Amen. Spin the wheel. No.
I want it in the backpack.
All right, 510, 400.
Big money, no whammy.
Tomorrow, 3 p.m. Wine and cheese.
Backpack.
Oh.
Nope. Take your notes. Thank you for coming out.
Thanks, David.
All right, thanks everybody.
Thank you for the music.
There you go. Thank you.
You can't even hear me. Don't leave me hanging. You gotta hear the music. Oh, you're sick, huh?
Oh yeah, you don't want to touch me.
All right.
I'm poorly.
I'm not sick.
Yes, go wash your hands.
Thank you, guys.
What's we got next? Guess what's coming in January? Oh, really? That was just so sad. Let me ask one more time. Guess what's coming back in January?
Oh!
That was so sad. Still. All right, Cara, come here. Come here.
Okay.
We'll do it together. Maybe we'll get a better answer.
Oh, okay.
You ready?
Yeah, I think we can do this. What are we gonna ask? Let's do this one more time.
You ask. You ask. Maybe it's me. Ask.
Oh no.
Do you focus?
Y'all, what is coming in January?
Oh! 2.0.
A little bit together.
Yeah.
Okay, come on, you guys ready?
1,
2, 3.
What's coming in January?
Oh!
Gold 2.0, I might add. So for anybody that's saying, oh, the drunk monkey's over here saying, I don't want to do that, and they've got all that fluffy stuff, and oh, I just don't like that. Guess what? There's no fluff. It's all content. And it is definitely worth investigating because it will build your business for 2020. Yes? Say yes.
Yes.
Okay, so we're offering a special incentive. So it's normally $7.99. Okay, so you pay upfront $7.99, but for full bold by January 3rd, you sign up for it. And for your first and second closing, we will reimburse you $100 for each of the 2 closings. So it brings the cost down to $5.99. So do you think you'll do at least 2 closings as a result of being in Bold 2.0?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, do you think that you'll have at least 2 closings as a result of being in 2.0?
Yes.
Better, okay. And our instructor is actually the head of the Bold program. John Prescott is going to be our instructor. Okay, so we're very excited that not only Bold 2.0 is coming back and that we have John Prescott who is the head of the program. So how many of you are interested or have signed up for Bold 2.0? Awesome, Hannah. Awesome, Lisa. Yay, yay. How many have a question in their mind? Ooh, do I really want to do that? Okay, let's have a quick conversation about that before we bring Brady out. Let's have a conversation. Who has taken Bold 2.0 in August? Okay, Brandon, what'd you get out of it?
There's definitely less.
There's
I've
definitely
taken
less
Bubble
fluff.
before. It's a lot
Okay.
more to the point, and I like that they bring into account social media and technology into it, which makes the contact part a lot easier.
Right. Okay.
And besides easier, I think it makes it better because some people you only communicate with that way.
Right. Okay. Who else took it? Seth, what did you get out?
I agree with that about the social media part of it. That was a lot less stressful and a lot more productive and more results. And I ended up with 3 closings and 10 new clients.
Wow. Say that a little bit louder.
I ended up with 3 closings as a result of that time frame, plus 10 new clients that are now nurturing and in my pipeline.
Okay, so who would like 3 more closings and 10 new clients in their database? So I'm thinking you probably should be signing up ASAP because this offer is over January 3rd. I gave you a little bit of time over the holidays. However, sign up now so there's a spot because once it's sold out, it is sold out. And Peachtree Road will not be offering our room for Bold as an overflow. So you have to be in that room in order to get this special incentive. So we know it's going to be super successful. It's being held at the Sandy Springs Art Center again. It is not at the Dunwoody Nature Center. If that was an issue for anybody last time, it is at Sandy Springs, and so it proves to be very beneficial for your business. So I would hope that you would all take advantage of this opportunity and work with John Prescott and the other top agents in the market centers that are going to be taking Bold with the Rawls Group. Yes?
Yes.
Awesome? Okay. You have a very short list.
Hi everybody. So we've got a lot of fun stuff coming for January. As you know, next week is our fabulous holiday. So we've had a jam-packed agenda. We want to make it a little bit light going into the new year. However, we cannot stress enough that these tech classes are happening regularly every single month, right? And let me just ask all of you, who here likes to get paid? I mean, I should see every hand, right? Because if you don't
Gosh,
get
only
paid,
like 5 people want to get paid.
Right?
Really? Dang.
Okay, so who can tell me how do we get paid at Keller Williams? What do we have to use? Command, okay? And if you have not explored Command yet, it is not too late. It is really, really important, and we partnered with our MCA office. Y'all, they really need you to be using opportunities in Command or they cannot pay you, and trust me, they really want to. So what classes is everyone going to be taking in December and January? Command classes. Okay. Don't forget as well, coming up in the new year, we are bringing back our top 20% mastermind, Stump the Megas, and we've got some really, really great programming as far as lead generation and focusing on listings. Also, if you want to see anything in particular on the calendar, let us know because these trainings and classes are for you.
And guess what's coming next year?
What's coming next year?
We're going to be doing a top 5 mastermind. So if you're in the top 5% of the market center, we'll be doing a mastermind just for you. So watch the calendar for that.
Oh, and last but not least, Kelly Chansey, what's happening in January?
We're continuing on the growth mastermind. So those of y'all participated with me, you'll probably, assuming you're still within the same qualifications, anywhere from like capping to 6 million. So we have some new folks I know that have made that category, so we'll continue on first Tuesday of every month from noon to 1:30.
Awesome. Can I get y'all to sit down because there are people outside waiting to get in? So it'd be awesome if you came and sat down. That'd be awesome. All righty. And now, without further ado, I know, so sorry. I'm so excited to introduce or reintroduce to you Brady Sandahl from Palm Springs. We met last year at the ALC clinic. I think it was just last year. And you know how you just think, gosh, this person is a blessing in my life? That's Brady. Because Brady reached out to me and said, I'm going to be in town this week. What do you need? And I said, I'll bring back team meeting for you. Come on in and let's chat. So Brady, come on down. There's no pressure.
No pressure.
No
Good
pressure.
morning. How's everyone? All doing well? Excited for Santa Claus to come down the chimney?
Oh, yes.
It's a little chilly in Atlanta, but I love the blue sky, so it's great. Thank you for allowing me to celebrate the holiday season with you for a few minutes. We're going to talk about some things that I want you to put into practice going into 2020. Some of it we talked about last night at a great dinner where I had the pleasure of hearing your accent for mesmerized. So my name is Brady Sandahl. I work in Palm Springs, California. I'm just like you. I wake up every day looking to find the next seller or the buyer, which means I'm very realistic on our time together. The conversation we'll have, you're going to be multitasking on your cell phones and your gadgets and your devices, and I'm totally cool with that. So don't worry about having to ignore it. Do what you need to do. I'm totally on board with it. If anybody wants to sit in the hot seat, we've got hot seat 1, 2, and 3. Come on down. I am in Atlanta for the reason of wanting to spend time in the award-winning Southeast region, which I do believe is the best region in the country. And I'm actually not in the region, but my job is to show up every day and list and sell real estate. My passion is to build up the people around us. And that includes the ladies and gentlemen that work within our group, as well as the customers in front of the curtain, and the nation's largest real estate sales force, which is you. How many of you know that Keller Williams as a company closed nearly $1 billion a day every day last year? How many of you are sharing the story with your potential customers that your company, the largest real estate company the world has ever seen, has closed nearly $1 billion a day every day, and we are on track to beat that in 2019. That is your company. That is our company. Congratulations to you. Today, I want to talk about 12 things that I think you need to put into play. And these 12 things were customized for this market center. It's not a canned presentation, it's a conversation. So I want to be really interactive. Before we go into the 12 things, is there anything you want to make sure I cover today? Because we're together for 9 hours, so I want to make sure really good. Anything? Okay. So Dory asked me to share with you a little bit of a story, and I'll make it brief. I came from a real estate family. My father was a real estate broker. I knew at age 5 that I wanted to be in real estate because I would go to McDonald's and buy a Happy Meal, or a few of them, and rather than eat them, I would build planned developments with cheeseburgers and french fries. He also put me in open houses on the weekend. How many of you have children or have had children through age 5? So my job was to greet the guests at the open house, ask them if they'd like a cookie, and then if they'd like to buy the house. That was my script. Child labor law is a little questionable. But I grew up in real estate. I grew up knowing everything I should know. And so when I got licensed in 1994, it took me 10 years to build up the confidence to sell a house. 10 years. I'm sure all of you have sold a home faster than I did in 10 years. So I am not an overnight sensation. I got into real estate 10 years after I became licensed. Spent 10 years in corporate America, worked for Blake Nordstrom at Nordstrom, worked for Microsoft, worked for University of Phoenix, opening up their Northwest market, and then had the pleasure of exiting out into Sylvan Venture Capital Group, and quietly retired at age 30. And I thought that that was going to be the end all, because I was 30. And you think your whole life you're building companies and you realize you're 30. So I decided to go into real estate and joined a company called Remax. So I sat in the balloon and traveled around and then realized that I mastered that. So then I went into luxury by working and opening up Sotheby's International Realty in the desert, and opened that company up and realized that that was a really good luxury brand but was not a very big business. And they relied heavily on the marketing brochure. You don't really know what to say, just use that marketing brochure. Don't worry about profit, just use that marketing brochure. Oh, cap management, we don't have that, just keep giving us your money. Well, that didn't work. In fact, I lost $1 million in 2015. The market went down. We weren't looking long enough down the lane. We got caught with $1 million loss. So I interviewed over 50 companies, not market centers, but 50 companies around the country. And I signed so many non-disclosures. And everything kept coming back to Keller Williams. I wanted a big culture, because culture is what we do and how we do it. I wanted a really large group of professional salespeople. Keller Williams has that. And I wanted phenomenal transparency and growth opportunities. And we clearly have that. So I joined Keller Williams in 2016. We're 3 years and 6 months into it. I'm proud to say we tripled our business using a couple things. One is the MREA book and the models, the concept of the one thing, and the Ritz-Carlton gold standards, which we're going to talk about today. You want to sit down, we've still got some hot seats open. The first thing I want to share with you is asking a question. How many of you have been in real estate for less than 10 years? Anyone longer than 10 years? Okay. For those of you either less than 10 years or longer than 10 years, you're going through the biggest growth opportunity that you can go through, and here's why. Everyone will wake up on January 1st wanting to make a New Year's resolution. That's not going to be anything different. But what is different is they're now starting a new decade. And that's what's different, right? So the conversation you want to have with yourselves and the customers you serve would be, what lifestyle changes are you going to have or make in the next decade that would cause you to want to buy or sell real estate? What lifestyle changes? Because that's what this game is about, the lifestyle changes. So when we look at that, we think about what's going to happen over the next 10 years. And all of a sudden, you're going to be talking with your database and building out a 10-year sales map. You want to let them know that you're going to be in the game for 10 years, if not longer. If not longer. So with that, there are 12 things I think you want to hear. And the first thing I want to talk about is something that several of you have had me share with you, and that is, as we go into 2020 or any new year, There's a little bit of anxiety. I'm sure, Case, you've seen it with the people you coach. Can you do this again? You're starting over. It's simply a continuation, but we almost set us up for failure because we put so much focus on the goals, not realizing we'll fall down to the level of our systems and habits. Right? There's a lot of pressure to hit the goal, and we ignore the systems and habits. So there's a book called Atomic Habits. I strongly recommend you read it. It's going to help you understand that yes, you have to have a goal, but all your energy is not on the goal. All your energy should be on the moment of building up the systems and habits. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. How many of you have read Atomic Habits? All of you? If you learn nothing more from me, please spend the $19 for the hard copy or less for Audible to read that book. That is the next book to read, Atomic Habits. That's number one, recognizing that your goal is important, but the systems and habits are more important. Here's the second thing. You have to be really protective of your schedule. This country, went through the slowest start of the real estate career in decades, meaning that everybody started really slowly. Oh, hot seat 1. Hot seat 2. And we pivot. Okay. But our industry, for the first time, as a collection, had the slowest start of the year. Which means a lot of people were playing catch up. And a lot of people had high levels of frustration. So I want you to be really clear on time management. And I want you to think about your schedule should be focused on 4 activities. And this will be a repeat for some of you. It's going to work very well. Every day, I want you to wake up starting your day at 0. Some of you had 4 closings, congratulations. Some of you have more this week, congratulations. But every day, you want to wake up at 0. And you have to start the clock over with what we call plan, P-L-A-N. P is prospecting. You have to make sure that income activities are in your schedule. Master that really carefully. And you have to be disciplined with your time. Some of you might fall into creative avoidance. You might think of something else to do, like dry cleaning, getting your car washed. But don't forget that you have an obligation to start over and prospect, lead generate. You also have to go into lead follow-up. Why? Because 70 to 80% of your commission checks will come from lead follow-up. Right? Your ability to get paid is not on finding the lead, but calling back on the lead, staying in touch with the lead. And then obviously that sets you up to go on appointments and negotiate contracts. But the point I want to share with you is make sure that you are so self-disciplined and protective of your schedule. Those of you in the room have a head start, but many in the industry are going to be really distracted in January. It's hard to come out of the holiday season and go into production. So put your blinders on, keep your lane really narrow, and if you feel like you're slowing down, lean into the market center. Lean into the market center. The third thing I want to share with you is I need you to source your business. I need you to pull out every closing you had in 2019 and source your business. Honestly, determine where that closing came from, because that tells you your strengths. For example, if you had closings and your top 3 and you were very service oriented, your top 3 sources are probably going to be your past clients or your past client referrals, probably your center of influence, your sphere, and possibly referrals from other agents who know about your brand. Those are our top 3. We'll close 140 units in 2019. 104 million, 70 listings sold, 70 buyer controlled sales. Our top 3 sources are past client referral, sphere center of influence, and referrals from other agents outside of Palm Springs, which, by the way, you can refer to us. We'd love to help you, ladies and gentlemen. But you have to source the business. Why? When you source the business, you know where your strengths are and where your time should be spent. So we think about going to the new year, we go in that goal conversation, right? We think about, well, I'm going to go 25 or 50 or 75 or 100 units. What if we turned the conversation and said, let's look at our top 3 sources, and what if we just added 20% to those 3 sources? What if we doubled those top 3 sources? What if we put all our energy, our 20% into those top 3 sources? Where would that business go? And what will happen is you'll figure out the things you don't need to do, the money you no longer need to spend. So if you've truly sourced your business, you know who actually paid you and the cause for how you got paid. We went through a real interesting exercise. We pulled our credit card statement for the last year, and I went through every transaction on the credit card. And I was like, what is this? Oh, hot seat. I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah. There's a place at the end, and you'll get to leave it. That's how we roll. So when you look at that, you look at the fact that you'll go through expenses, and we actually cut out expenses that didn't directly relate to our top 3, because we no longer need to spend that money. And when you have the sourcing, you're no longer in fear. You know exactly what you need to spend the money on. Remember, there's the return on the investment and there's the return on the involvement, your time. We don't spend a lot of money, but we do spend a lot of time. We want to make sure that the time we spend has a good return on involvement. So when you understand your top 3 sources, then your activities and your schedule can be directed around those top 3 sources. Point number 4. Cash flow is the most important number in your business. It isn't gross sales volume, it isn't GCI, it isn't transaction count, it's not number of contacts you've made. Candidly, it's cash flow. If you can get comfortable watching your cash flow versus cash spurts, do we know the difference? Cash flow is where you have a constant flow of income. Cash spurts is where you sell a lot and then you service and then you panic because the bank account's going down, and then you sell a lot and then you service and the bank goes, right? If you can get comfortable tracking your cash flow, you're going to sleep better at night. You won't have that financial anchor carrying you down. It's tough to go to bed at night when you're worried about cash flow. So cash flow is the number 1 number you have to pay attention to. Point number 5. For those of you, and almost all of you have been selling for less than 10 years, what has the market done over the last 10 years? Increased. So what's happened is the market has actually carried you up. Should the market change, and it could just be stable, or adjust down, what we call the shift, you have to be ready. So I need you to define your value proposition. That's the next point. Define your value proposition. What makes you, as an individual, different than the rest? What makes your expansion team different than the rest? How many of you are individual agents? How many of you are part of a team? How many of you are leading a team? For the leaders, this is the hardest part of your job. Getting really clear on your value proposition is not easy. It's not. But you have to be really clear. Our value proposition starts with what we call ASPIRE. You're welcome to use it. ASPIRE. A is we anticipate what our customers need and we give it to them before they realize they need it. Anticipatory service, we pulled that from the Ritz-Carlton. S is serve. We serve our customers internally and externally, and we do it in that order. P is perform. We're in sales, and we're in commission-based sales. If you're an assistant on salary, your salary is contingent upon the commission dollars coming in. I is inspire. It's a tough business. You have to inspire yourself every day, the ladies and gentlemen with you, and the customers in front of you, and I believe it should be in that order. R, respond. Do you know that you'll get paid when the other agent didn't respond to that inquiry? You'll get paid on your ability to respond. And E is you want to exceed or excel above the customer expectations. So you have to be really clear on your value proposition. Whether you're in front of a seller or in front of a buyer, you have to be really clear on why they want to hire you to get them where they want to go next. And if you're a team leader, meaning you're leading a team, or you're a team leader like Dory, you have to be clear on the value proposition of your team. Why should talent select you versus someone else? You have to be clear on what your value proposition is to the ladies and gentlemen that you want to bring into your group.
You said S was service?
Pardon me?
S was service?
Service. Yeah. Anticipate, serve, or service, perform, inspire, respond, excel, aspire. So when you look at our new rebrand, which we're launching in a week, because we're doing that now, you'll see the core values of aspire come to life on all the marketing collateral. Number 6. You have 2 jobs every morning. You have to focus on the prospecting, or what we refer to in Keller Williams lead generation, and the marketing. Who knows the difference between the 2? Yeah.
I mean, I would say lead generation is you actually going after the lead or hunting it, and marketing is wanting it to come to you by using
Brilliant.
advertising.
Right. I'm done, retired. That's right. High five. Prospecting is where you're actually going out to the customer. Marketing is you're doing something to get the customers back to you. If you're having cash flow challenges, you want to lead with prospecting for 2 reasons. 1, it allows you to get the sale faster, and you don't have the expense. Marketing, it's a creative way to avoid the conversation with the customers you think you want to serve. So why are we so willing to spend money to avoid the conversations we know we have to have? Because we're fearful of rejection. That's just the conversation. So as you're looking to grow the business, as you're looking to increase the cash flow, focus on the prospecting. So in 2015, when we lost $1 million, I said to them, we're not going to do any marketing. We're all going to get on the phones more, not texting, talking. We're going to get in front of people, have more conversations. What is the market telling you? And what do you need to tell them? What do you need to tell them? Number 7. For those of you who market, and all of you do in some way or another, I need you to look at the marketing that you're doing and ask a couple of questions which came from Jason Abrams. Number 1, if you absolutely stopped marketing, that one strategy, that one thing you do, if you just stopped it, would your customers call you and ask, hey, why did you stop that activity? Or would they not even notice? Some of you have been doing marketing strategies, the same ones, for years. The message is tired. The market's immune to it. The second thing you want to look at are the marketing pieces that you're putting out, are they attracting the clients that you want? Or are they repelling? Now, in the spirit of transparency, we had for many years talked about our growth, how many families we helped, our gross sales volume. And then the conversations went like this, well, hey, I listed our $900,000 home because I know you're so busy. You sell all these homes, I didn't want to bother you. So we just went with someone else. I mean, I think the world of Ben Kinney. So we have to be careful with someone like Ben or someone like us who's much smaller, because if we start talking about the size of the team and the unit count and the volume, there are customers that may say, gosh, you're too busy, right? It's a tough one. So we actually are going away from unit count into the experience of the customer. All of our marketing now talks about our customer experience, a 5-star ranking. We're having the customers we've helped tell the story of who we are, not the volume. How many of you have pulled up a real estate ad and said, oh, page 1, top percent, top performing real estate agent, top performing team, top this, top that. Customer's like, wow, everybody's top producing. This must be the top producing magazine. Therefore, I'm going to go with someone else because these people must be too busy to help me. So be careful on the marketing. Also, maybe it's time to update some headshots or not use them, right? We have some people in our market who have headshots from the 1990s. And then they show up. Remember? When you have a situation of marketing, here's what I want you to hear. The customer expects you to get the job done until you show up. And then you verbal vomit in front of them. Right? So the customer expects that you have the capacity to get them where they want to go next. So those old headshots and that chunky marketing shouldn't work. Remember, you are the largest real estate company the world has ever seen. That's your brand. I had the pleasure of riding Uber this morning, and the gentleman's like, you get to work with Keller Williams? I said, every day. He's like, they dominate this market. So do you know and do you share that you dominate the market? So when you look at your marketing, remember, your marketing should be consistent, it should be classy, it should represent who we are as a company, because we are the world's largest real estate company. The next point I want to share with you is so critically important. It's probably my biggest passion, and that is you have to define your customer experience before it's defined by someone else. Let me share with you a statistic given to us by the Ritz-Carlton Leadership Center. This is a shocker. 10% of the customers you helped this year will no longer need your service in 2020. May I share with you why? You sold their house. They've moved to Palm Springs or somewhere else. 10% of your customers may not use you because the service or the outcome was not very good. You didn't get the price. They didn't like the closing table activities. There was something that happened. We didn't get our hands around it. That's possible. But over 60% of your customers will not use you because the service was indifferent. You got the home sold. You got the buyer in the house they wanted, but they didn't feel connected to you. And so for that reason, they're just going to go with someone else. And because 60% of your customers will leave because the service was indifferent, you have to be so clear on what your customer experience looks like. And with your permission, I'll peel back what our experience looks like for our customers. Now there are 3, do you like that 3? I'm holding up 10 fingers. 3 chunks. You have the initial introduction. Now, in the perfect world, everyone you talk to is going to want to buy or sell that day. Dream world, not going to happen. So you're looking for conversion, nurturing. We have what are called nurturing moments. Nurturing moments. Thank you. Helps if I have my glasses on. Nurturing moments. When you have the initial introduction, Yes, you'd like to convert them, but not everybody can be converted because of an objection or a condition. They're simply not ready. But what is the customer experience like when they first meet you or you first find them? Are you talking through the nurturing moments? How many of you are drivers? You like to just get the job done. I know you are. Imagine telling a driver that you're going to have to hold the customer's hand for 18 months until they're ready to buy. Right? And then have a nurturer try to convert in a second. Not going to happen. So remember that nurturers don't know how to convert, and converters don't want to nurture. And if you're leading a team, do not yell at your ladies and gentlemen when your nurturer can't convert and your converters don't want to nurture. Remember, it's about the customer experience here, right? Now, what we have in our group is called the defining moments. The defining moments. We know at the Ritz-Carlton that defining moments are where you look for the cues and the clues and you surprise and delight. So I'll share with you what are defining moments in our group. Defining moment number 1, the initial introduction. You've reached out to them, they've found you, it's a defining moment. It's like, wow, this person can help me get my home sold or help me buy. It's a defining moment. The second one is where you're meeting for the listing consultation or the buyer consultation. That's the second defining moment. They're excited to meet with you, you're excited to meet with them, it's a defining moment. The third, signing of the contract. It's a defining moment. They're excited to sign with you, you're excited that they're going to sign with you. Right? Sometimes. By the way, if you're taking on customers that you shouldn't take on, it means you haven't prospected enough.
That's right.
How many of you are single? Prospecting cures all problems. I probably should prospect more. But in seriousness, if you're taking on the clients that you don't want to take on, you're probably fearful that that's the only client you have. If you're dating someone you shouldn't be dating, you're probably fearful that's the only person you deserve. No, it's intervention. Thought this was real estate. Defining moments, right? So if you're dating someone, what's going on in the head? Right? So they sign the contract. Now our next defining moment is we photograph the property. We photograph the property. Are we going to photograph it the way the customer wants us to photograph? Remember, you're a brand, and are you living up to the standard that they have of you? The next defining moment is we have activated the listing for the World Wide Web to see. All right, and they want to see if you've picked the photo, organized the photos, written the copy in a way that articulates who they are and what they have to sell. The next defining moment is the broker preview or the open house. Are you presenting the property in a way that they want it to be presented? The next defining moment is the presentation and acceptance of the offer. Presentation, acceptance of the offer. In California, the next defining moment is the removal of contingencies. It's actually a one-page form. Buying real estate in California is like open table. If you open escrow, they may or may not show up for the closing. They have 17 days to back out for any reason. Any reason. They don't like the mailbox, I'm out, they get their full deposit back. That must be a little different in Georgia. Well, you're like moving to California and not.
It's 21 days here.
21, okay. 17 days for any reason, right? Now, once we have acceptance, removal of contingencies, then it's the closing. And then we have what are called the departure package, where we send our sellers off, and our arrival package, where we welcome the buyers in. Now, how many of you send closing gifts? Okay, we used to too. That awkward moment, of trying to get $21,000 in for commission and spend $200 on something. And me trying to wrap that something and then trying to race to the home to beat that while they're cleaning toilets and moving boxes. So we now take the $250 to $300 and we divide that up into the transaction. So that at each defining moment, they're getting something to surprise and delight along the way. And I'll share what that is. So when they first meet with us, defining moment number 1, the introduction, I might provide them a copy of The One Thing, or the Ritz-Carlton Gold Standard, or Atomic Habits. This is who we are, and this is how we represent our brand. This is the experience that we'll offer you. They're quite surprised when we leave them with something of value. $19, sometimes it's $20. The next defining moment is the listing consultation. We might leave something about the Ritz-Carlton, who we are, what we do, how we do it. It might be another book. At the photo shoot, we leave a candle. Generally, it's a Ritz-Carlton candle with a note card. While we're looking for your buyer, please enjoy this fragrance for your home. A candle. When we go on the market, we're sending cookies or brownies. Nothing's in the cookies or brownies. I have to say that nowadays, especially in California, they're just cookies and brownies. But we send them to the office so that they can share and then show that they're on the market. $35. Now they're on the market. The broker preview, we send flowers that morning. If they're not there, we'll send them to the home. Enjoy the flowers while we're showing your home in Palm Springs. $35.
Where do you send the flowers?
To their home. Either the home that we're going to have open that day or where they're currently living. Let them know that we're working to find the buyer. Acceptance of the offer, we give them a bottle of champagne with a note. Congratulations, once your buyers remove contingencies, we'll be over to celebrate with you. Keep the bottle, we'll celebrate when they have contingency removal. Contingency removal, we're over there to open up the bottle. We're celebrating. The departure, it's the fond farewell. So you no longer have the force of the final closing gift. Now, what's interesting is, when we put this into play, we watched 2 things happen. Our ladies and gentlemen were more inspired to surprise and delight, and our referrals went from 3 a month to 1 a day. 1 a day. Here's a story. How many of you have been to Palm Springs? You know, I mean, the car has. So in August, 121 degrees. They call it a dry heat. I call it 121 degrees. If it's dry or not, 121. Gentlemen have a home to sell. They've been on the market 90 days. Why our average market time is 90 days. 90 days. It's like having 25 relationships for 90 days. Hopefully they all have one personality. Sometimes they have 4. Customers are coming out. I'm really tired taking the dogs out for the showing because we don't use lock boxes. I said, I understand you're tired. We're getting really close to finding your buyer. The gentleman leave with the 3 dogs, 120 degrees. I called the concierge. He said, I need a protein box and protein drinks sent to the house in 45 minutes. The buyer showing wraps up. Owners come back in, protein box, protein drinks with a card. I know you're tired. I want you to know that we aren't. We will get you across the finish line. Within a couple days, they gave us over $30,000 of GCL referral income.
Wow.
I'll spend that $35 every day. So are we remembering that we have to look for the cues and the clues along the way? Are we learning to surprise and delight the customers that are inside our group, inside our market center, as well as the customers in front of us that need us to buy or sell? And by the way, at the Ritz-Carlton, all of the ladies and gentlemen that work there are allowed to spend up to $2,000 per guest per day. Yeah, $2,000. You know the average spend? About $50. Here's a story. I am in production just like you. I sell homes 3 weeks a month. I travel 1 week a month. I'm actually not paid to be here. I'm here because I love Atlanta. Right? So I went from the JW Marriott, spending time with Gary Keller, to the Ritz-Carlton Atlanta. walk in the club lounge. How many of you have been in the club lounge? Yeah, I know you've been in the club lounge. I know you've been in the club lounge. They provide breakfast, light lunch, little dinner, lots of cookies, and free beverages. I walk in, see Micah, the club manager. He's like, "Hey, Mr. Sandahl, how are you? Welcome from the welcome. How is the JW Marriott Atlanta? It's great." He's like, "You look a little tired." He said, "My eyes are irritated from the plane ride, and I don't have my eye drops. I'm so sorry." He's like, "Oh, no problem, Mr. Sandahl." So I go back to the table. He has wiped off the phone, charged it, bottled water, and I notice that Micah's not there. Okay, fine. Drink the water, check some emails, go into my room, probably 30 minutes later, walk in, and there are the eye drops that I like on the bathroom vanity with a note from Micah. "Please enjoy the eye drops." Now, I never said to Micah what eye drops they were, but they had stored in the CRM system the eye drops that I used because they noticed it the time I was here before.
Creepy.
What I also had was a note from the general manager. There's the magazine, The Atlantic, right?
Yep.
The Ritz-Carlton Live Luxury members were there. The note from the general manager of Ritz-Carlton: "Thank you for bringing the core values of the Ritz-Carlton into Keller Williams. It is our pleasure to be in business with you." That's your company. That's your company. So think about how you surprise and delight the customer experience. Remember, the customer will either create the experience they want, or you need to give it to them. It's more fun when you control the experience. Any questions on that? Customer experience? Okay. The next thing I wrote down for you is so important. How many of you spend most of your time in traditional real estate? Right? Not luxury, but the traditional price point. And okay, and the rest is more luxury?
No, they're just not raising
They're just not raising money. All right. We built our business on understanding that real estate is like a fish. I am going to try and draw a fish. He's a happy fish. That kind of looks like a fish.
goldfish.
It's like a bomb, man. Something.
When you have this, you have three sections of a fish. This is your, what I call, affordable housing, meaning it's priced under $250,000, $300,000, right? It's just really affordable. It's hard to keep the product on the shelf. It always sells. There's not a lot of it. California, that's a nice 4-door Bentley, 2020, with a steering wheel. This is your luxury. This is what we call your traditional. Now in Atlanta, I would say it's probably what, 350 to $1 million-ish, maybe a little bit more. This is where the majority of the transactions are. This is where your highest opportunity for growth is. The reason why it's not in luxury is a tail. It waggles. It's hypersensitive. It's the first market to tank. And what we notice about some of our Sotheby's agents, with all due respect, is if they're always in this basket, we've had Sotheby's agents go from 50 million in 1 year to 10 million the next year and not be ready for it. So we built our business on traditional, and then we go into luxury, and we rarely go in here unless it's a referral. It's just not profitable business for us, right? We're so high service that with that comes expense. So traditional real estate, luxury. But here's the deal. I'll be 50, and in my generation, we define luxury as a price point. How many of you are around 21, 22, 23? Millennials. You define luxury, pricing's number 7. The number 1 definition of luxury is the experience, not the price point. So what we share in our rebrand is luxury is more than a price point, it's an experience. Allow us to bring that experience to you. That is our slogan. You'll see that coming live in the first week of January. So luxury is more than a price point. Here's what I want you to think about. Luxury is the language of emotion. Luxury is the language of emotion. And the more emotion you bring out of your sellers and buyers, the more likely they're going to do what you need them to do. Luxury is the language of emotion. So for those of you who have traveled, you know that at the Ritz-Carlton, they would not say, "You're welcome." They'll say, "My pleasure." And a friend of mine who oversees all 30 plus brands of Marriott now has to take "My pleasure" and push that as far down as they can into Fairfield and Residence Inn and Courtyard by Marriott and the Marriott and the JW Marriott and the Residence Inn and the St. Regis. Right? So "My pleasure." So the language that you use should be on emotion. You've heard me say, "Ladies and gentlemen," because we believe that our ladies and gentlemen are serving ladies and gentlemen. And when you use language of emotion, it creates emotion. Right? It creates emotion. It's not elitist, it's emotional. So remember that as you look through the customer experience, everyone can be in luxury. Everyone can be in luxury. The fastest way to go from traditional price point to luxury price point is the customer experience and the language you use. Now, we will often have a seller hire us because the other agents they've interviewed have showed up in Lululemon. Now, I love Lululemon. You do. I wouldn't wear it in front of a customer. I'm dressed really casual today for how we would be in front of a customer or a lady and gentleman. So remember, to get to luxury, it isn't necessarily the price point. It isn't that you didn't come from luxury. You're the brand extension of luxury. And if you haven't been around luxury, the opportunity is available to you freely. Go hang out in the lobby of the Ritz-Carlton downtown, the St. Regis. Notice the experience, the smell. Scenography is what we call it, the Ritz-Carlton, scenography. What was the smell like? What was the feeling like? What emotion came out of that experience? You'll get to luxury. The next thing I wrote down for you is primarily directed to those of you who are leading others. And that is, you have to focus on culture every day. I think too many of us lead teams will focus on culture once a week. In our market center, I'm having everyone come together daily. They dial in at 8:45 because it's a tough business. I'm telling you, when you're an agent and you have a team meeting on a Wednesday, you have all the days before and all the days after to get in trouble up here. So I'm encouraging other market centers to dial in. Uber conference line, it's free. You want to talk about culture. It's what you do and how you do it, and you have to reinforce it daily. Now, we don't have dial-ins on Saturdays or Sundays. We respect that time as downtime. But Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we're having the dial-in call. You have to focus on culture. Many of our rainmakers are a little spastic and have a little bit of control freakism in themselves, right? And so, like, why can't that idiot do that? Like, why can't they get it right? Right? Well, it's because of two reasons. One, the reason why you have a team really should be you don't have the time to service the leads you've generated. So the people you employ, the ladies and gentlemen you employ, are simply an extension of you. So we probably shouldn't strangle them when they mess up. Remember, the people are generally always innocent. It's the systems that are guilty. And as the team leader or the leader of the team, the mega, the rainmaker, we have to slow down and pause before we want to reach across the table and strangle someone. Now I'll share with the story, and I shared it with you before, but I think it's not all of you. We have a closing coordinator. She's been with us 12 years. She's phenomenal. She's highly expressive. How many of you are highly expressive? You just will not follow a checklist, right? So there's a checklist, doesn't follow it. Customer calls me and says, Mr. Sandahl, I just want you to know how much we enjoyed buying with your team. We absolutely love the experience. Your closing coordinator is amazing. And they bought a $750,000 house. The experience was so good, we're asking for your permission on two things. One, maybe please send your closing coordinator to London for 10 days. Yeah, that's Maya's rule too. I'm like, if she's going to London, I'm going to like Barcelona. I said, excuse me? And he said, yeah, we've bought a lot of real estate. We've just never had such an experience as what Joanne gave us. We'd like to send her to London for 10 days. We'll pay for everything.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, right? I'm thinking, well, I'm going to go somewhere. I'm like, well, it would be our pleasure to allow that. We'll surprise her, which we did, surprise and delight her. And he said, by the way, we don't have the keys to our new house yet. We'd love to have the keys. I'm not sure if I went through deodorant or underwear that day. I said, Joanne, Mr. and Mrs. X would like to have the keys. Oh, I forgot about that. I said, okay, no problem. They're living on the curb. I know. But you will make mistakes. But culture is what you do and how you do it. Now, clearly, I'd love for her to follow a checklist. But I recognize it isn't about the checklist, it's about the experience. And the customer sent her to London for 10 days. First class on British Airways. She comes back with her robe and her slippers from British Airways. Meanwhile, I had gone nowhere. Nothing. But you know you're doing something right when you are receiving more gifts from your clients than you're giving them. And the second thing I learned is that our ladies and gentlemen are receiving closing gifts more than I am. I'm not receiving the closing gifts. And I'm okay with that. Right? I'm okay with that. So when you're leading a team, you need to talk about culture every day. Culture is what you do and how you get it done. When you're having moments where you have to correct service recovery, remember this, that when there's a problem, we know that your ability to get ahead of the problem and fix it creates more loyalty in the customer than if there was no problem at all. So don't hide from the problem, don't hide from the phone call, get ahead of it. Encourage your ladies and gentlemen to get ahead of it and resolve it. The loyalty will be stronger, and you just share that with your ladies and gentlemen. The loyalty will be stronger. The next thing, this is so important, from Earl Nightingale, you become what you think about. There's a video that I'd encourage you to play, and I'm not going to hook up that visual, but it's Earl Nightingale, You Become What You Think About. That video is so powerful, and here's why. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a really tough job. You have to wake up every day and generate income. Not only do you have to generate it, you have to service it and close it. And then, by the way, you have to start over again. Rinse and repeat. So what goes on in your head is critically important. Here's why. The most important vocabulary in our language is the words you tell yourself because you believe them. So that first thought will generally not be a good one. That second thought has to be a great one. The first thought this morning was, am I going to know anybody here? Which I knew I would. Who am I going to sit by? Well, I'm at the front of the room. How am I going to surprise and delight the ladies and gentlemen who've never met me or who have seen me before? The second thought is, I spent hours studying Peachtree. I knew who would be in the room. We had a conversation of what we felt you needed to hear to make sure January is the best month of your career. So that first thought, generally not great. Second one has to arrive quickly and confidently. final thing I want to share with you is your growth is contingent upon your ability to continually learn. Continually learn. It's not that you're going to dive deep into learning, but you're going to show up every day making yourself 1% smarter every day. Just 1%. And let the compound effect take over from there. Any questions on the 12 things that I wanted to share with you? we wanted to share with you this morning. Yes?
Okay, I have 2 things. So the first thing is, are you hiring any closing coordinators? Because I'd love to.
So sorry. So sorry.
The second one is, I believe I may have missed it, but during you explaining what your closings for your gifts were throughout the process, what was the closing gift that you gave, like at closing?
A fond farewell. We don't give one.
Oh, okay.
So you didn't miss it.
Okay.
You're still hired.
And I'll have the keys too.
Yeah. The realize that the fond farewell, they're really tired of the process and a little tired of you. And you're tired of them. So why have that awkward moment? So now at a fond farewell, 3 steps of the fond farewell to Ritz-Carlton. 1, we use the name. It was truly our pleasure to help you get across the finish line. Anticipate anything else that needs to be done. We know your disbursement will be wired out tomorrow. I've called ahead to title to make sure that's on track. Number 3, again, it's been our pleasure to help you. If you need anything in the next, hour, day, week, we're here for you. It's no longer that, right? It's no longer that here's the box with the bow and I missed the tape and all of that stuff. Fond farewell. Now, what we will do is we'll do something special, like surprise and delight. 8 checkpoints, 8 gifts, totaling around $250 to $300. We have extra moments like the protein box, the windows need to be cleaned. Some of our clients are a little messy. We'll have the housekeeper come in and do a nice revamp, so when they're off for the showing, they'll come back and the home's professionally cleaned. Right? Or they're looking a little tired, we'll send them off to the Ritz-Carlton spa for the afternoon. The kids are cranky, off to the movies. So we may spend a little bit more than $300 to surprise and delight, but we do that because we know that small expense will build a bigger profit. Good questions. Yes?
Can you dive into a little more about the luxury as the language of emotion?
Sure.
Like specific scripts?
Yes, we do. It would be, I'll make sure that we get the language to Dory and broadcast out.
Okay.
But for example, we would never say that we're hiring her as our closing coordinator. We're selecting her to join our team. Hire, select. One of the worst things I hear is, no problem. It's a problem. They did not want to get out of their desk. It was a problem. Use my pleasure. Let me get that agent over for you. Please allow me to find our lady or gentleman who can assist you. I'll be with you in just a moment. Allow me to find someone who can assist you quickly. And for some of you, it will seem a bit trippish, right? So what we now put into place is all of our ladies and gentlemen have to role play 3 times before they present an offer, a counter, a request for repair. Because there were moments where when I'd be in my office and I'd hear them present, and they'd say like, so the seller came back at 510, what do you want to counter with? No, we're not doing that anymore. I have great news. The seller received your offer. They're asking you to accept 515. Would you like to sign the contract as it's written so you can start enjoying the house in 30 days? Sure. So they have to role play 3 times. We tape them. They hated it. Then they hated me. Now they're loving it because they're going to the bank more frequently.
And
next,
London.
Yes, next, and London. Next question.
I wanted to know, how do you document or present the you're marketing the experience, the customer experience. I heard you say we're talking about the customer experience in our marketing pieces, and I would love to see how you're showcasing that or gathering it or whatever.
I'm happy to share out our 8 defining moments. You're welcome to borrow them. But what we do is we actually have an assembly line. I mean, think of your customers going through the assembly line, right? Whether you're doing 5 deals a year or 155 or 9 million with Ben Kenny, I'm not sure what your unit count is. But it's an assembly line. Now, I had this moment of, I just had a moment. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to Costco and Whole Goods. So I went to Costco and Home Goods in one weekend, and I bought 4 SUVs of stuff. So the team walks in on a Monday morning and they're like, what just happened? Christmas blew up. Like there was like 45 candles, and then we had pillows, and then we had like blankets, and they're like, what's going on? I was like, oh, we're gonna do these closing gifts. And they're like, we are or you are? So well, we all are. I'm like, this is awkward. Like we need to slow this down and define the moments. And so we slowed it down, and now we have 8 clear checkpoints. And when you're leading a team, you think you have to do everything because you kind of like to control things. Well, your ladies and gentlemen will do things for you. And so we went through a rebrand. So now we have 8 definitive points, 8 target gifts. We allow our ladies and gentlemen to substitute and or surprise more if need be. Yeah. Yes?
Can you talk a little bit more about the lifestyle changes over the next decade with that conversation zone?
Lifestyle changes. So for the first time in 10 years, they're going through a lifestyle change, right? The kids are leaving the house. The kids are moving back in. They are now having to take care of their parents. Their parents have to move closer to them. They're getting to retire. They're downsizing. Something's going to happen in their life that's going to require them to buy or sell real estate. And you want to let them know that not only are you here for them now, but you're here for them for the next 10 years. And so we're going through this right now. So candidly, we have a customer the other day says, well, our kids are graduating, our final child's graduating in 2022. We're going to downsize in 2022. Great. 2022, here's our list of customers. So when I go into 2022, yes, I will have talked with them before, but I know that I'm going to have 75 people that at one point had their hand up to do something in 2022. You're building a big business. Question? Yes?
Do you have an ISA?
Yes. Team structure.
Are they licensed?
Yes. We have 11 ladies and gentlemen, all of whom are licensed. We had one gentleman named Curtis Butler who worked at Zillow. I'm sure all of you have heard of Zillow. Yeah. Some of you have looked at Curtis online. He was single. He was 29. He's like the better looking son of my family. He wanted to come here. He's not. Stay home and work.
Oh no, bring Curtis.
I know everybody wants to.
Yeah, y'all want an ISA class with Curtis? Yeah.
We're probably going to bring all of our ladies and gentlemen out to Atlanta here relatively soon. We're working on that.
2 Peachtree Road, right?
We're going to do a road show. We're probably going to be at Peachtree and Buckhead and Sandy Springs, and we'll have our inside sales team. We have 2. Their job is to do outbound prospecting, incoming, converting, and nurturing. Right? And they are salaried, and they receive a bonus of 2.5% on every sale that closes because we want all of our leads to go back up to them. We have a listing agent, myself. We have 2 listing specialists. Their job is to go on appointments when I'm not available because I take 1 week off to be with Keller Williams Market Centers. We have a showing agent because we don't use lock boxes. We realize that many of the agents in the market would forget to turn off lights, lock doors. Sometimes they wouldn't close them. Sometimes they would leave the air conditioning on. And then the owner would come back, you didn't lock the house, you left the system running. We got rid of lock boxes. We generally take 2 or 3 listings a month just because the seller knows we don't take lock boxes. They don't interview anybody else. Then we have the buying team. We have 4 buying agents, and candidly, they're all very, very good, and they all pretty much work part-time. I thought that a buying agent wanted to work full time. No. Buying agents join your team because they don't want to lead generate. They simply want to convert the leads that you're going to give them. Hello? Careful about that. And they're not going to work full time. If you have a buying specialist that works full time, I'd love to recruit them. But praise them for what they do. And then we have a closing coordinator, the one that goes to London, right? Our age bracket goes from 28 to 71. It's a diverse audience, right? And I love that. I love that. I love that we have so many women in our group and leadership in the company. I love that. Other questions? Yes?
So what did you advertise to obtain your help, your team?
What do I advertise?
Yes.
Where or what?
Both.
Okay, so here's our big budget. $30,000 a month is on salary. $30,000 a month is our operating expenses. Our largest expense is coaching. We have multiple Max coaching contracts. We have multiple Mike Berry coaching contracts. I have 4 coaches. I need to be coached. Otherwise, I'd be at the restaurant we were at last night. I would never leave. It was great. I love Atlanta. So we advertise 2 print magazines, totaling around $1,500 a month. That's all. Remember, our GCI is $2.85 million. Our biggest expense in marketing is radio. I spend $5,100 a month on radio. Now, radio is better in a small market, not in a big market. We're in a small market, right? It's 45 minutes long, 120 golf courses in 45 minutes. And they'll say, oh my God, I listen to your show every day. I love it. It's a 30-second radio ad. It's not a show. I'm not Ellen. How many of you watched the Christmas giving?
Oh, yes.
How much Kleenex did I go through? Like, I was like, Ellen, I want to work for you. But it's a 30-second show, and what I learned is that we used to say a radio DJ would give like another da-da-da, Brady Sandahl, da-da-da. When I went on the radio, the customer's like, you sound like me. I like how you sound, therefore I want to hire you. So I'll play the radio ad if you'd like to hear it.
Yes, please.
Okay, so someone remind me of the radio ad. We dropped our just listed mailers because no one cared to look at them. We kept our just sold mailers. We went away from how many units we've sold to the customer experience that customer had, a testimonial. So we're also getting rid of our pretty houses with our pretty pools, and we're going through the core values of Aspire and our 5-star service, right? Sellers hire you not on the inventory you represent, but on the image that you project.
Yeah.
Buyers will hire you based on smiling. Now, some of you who are on social media might like to have that sexy LA look where you're like, buyers don't buy that. Buyers buy this. Right? So this is not a time to be a model. Some of you could be a model, right? But this is not the time. This is the time to send out the message that I'm friendly, I'm easy to work with, I'm approachable, right? That's your smile. Customers will call you because of your smile. So look at what you're doing. What are you doing? Right? Yes?
Did I hear you right that you put the testimonial on the just sold?
Yes.
You put their name or you just put like their
First
initials?
name, first letter of last name, city they're in, and date we closed.
How do you ask for the testimonial?
How do we ask for it? We beg. No. Here's the big shocker. Most of the time we thought closing give testimonial at the end. We ask for it at the time the listing goes live, offers accepted, or contingencies removed. We never wait till the end. They're tired. Remember, if you are at the Ritz-Carlton and you've had a couple glasses of champagne or lemonade, you're loving life. You're like, I love the Ritz-Carlton. When you check out and you're in the car with Atlanta traffic going back home, you're like, I don't want to go back to work. You're not going to do the survey then. You're going to do the survey when you're drunk. Not just on alcohol, but you're crushing on the Ritz-Carlton.
Get them while they're drunk. Is that
Get
what
them while
you're
they're
saying?
drunk.
Yeah.
So they'll say, oh my God, I love the photos. I love that you love the photos. Who do you know would like to love the photos as much as you love yours? Who do you know that wants to be as excited as you are right now? I love that you got me an offer. We love it too. Would you like to share that with the world? Absolutely. Can I send the survey over now? Absolutely. They're like, this guy is great. Sold my house in 2 days. And I'll say to them, as I did with someone the other day, if you look at our Facebook, we sold the condo in 2 days. It's like $295, $285, we'll call it $285. And I said, when we sell this, it's okay if you go online and share it with the world. Literally, we sold it, he went online and shared it with the world. Anticipatory service, we're going to sell it, therefore you'll want to, and that's okay. Don't wait till the end. By the way, you're tired. And they're tired of you, as I mentioned earlier. Next question. Yes.
When you're talking about that multiple gifting type of situation,
yes,
it sounds so difficult to
yes.
pull off.
Yes.
Talk to me about that.
Sure, it's painful.
Sounds like a system.
I'm actually not one who enjoys receiving gifts. I mean, I think if you went to my office, there's bottles of champagne from 2016 that are still there. I just am not a gift person. I love cards, but I'm not a gift person. Like, I don't really, it's just not my thing. And so therefore I thought, well, if I don't like them, no one else does. Oh, that's wrong. And then I thought, well, then I have to do everything. No, we started with the goal of defining moments. Okay, we said, what is the most exciting moment? Well, for us, it was the closing. We said, no, that's not the most exciting moment. The most exciting moment is they accept the offer. So we built the first gift on that. And then we went upstream, not downstream, we went upstream. Why? Because they're most excited in the honeymoon phase. How many of you are married? Life was a little easier in the honeymoon phase. And you had to change diapers. And then those little rats came back when they didn't get out of college. Charlie, take that off Instagram. The point of that is you have to be able to just pick one moment, go upstream, and then maybe downstream.
Okay.
Just master that one, make sure everyone has that one defining moment, celebrate it, track the success, and then add another defining moment.
Okay.
Literally, if you just said, oh, I got that right this time, 8 defining moments, 1 per month, 1 per week. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Yes. Yes.
Along the lines of, it's exhausting and it can be, right? And I know you talked about books that you read, but truly, Brady, how do you keep your mindset strong? Consistently.
I have to be really clear that we have a very boring job. We have to master the art of repetitious boredom. So I swam competitively for 12 years. And my coach said, here, my father and my coach kind of, it was a conspiracy. He said, now you're going to start at one end of the pool and you're going to swim down this black mark lane to the other end. And when you get to the wall, you're going to turn around and you're going to go back up the lane. And when you get to that wall, you're going to turn around. You're going to do that for 4 hours. I'm not a smart kid. I was like, oh, I can do that. Well, the same thing with real estate. You know, you meet the client, you go on the consultation, you sign them up, you photograph it, put the sign in the yard. Hopefully it's straight. Have the broker preview. Hopefully the cat doesn't vomit before you walk into the broker preview. Hopefully people show up, they don't steal anything. The point of that is you have to be comfortable with repetitious boredom, and as chaos shows up, you have to quickly remember to get that first thought, that problem, that drama out of your head. You gotta play the perfect game. You don't have to win every time. You just have to win more than you lose. And when my mind gets a little crazy, Like we had a couple closings yesterday, we're multiple offers, I'm 3 hours ahead of the team. You know, narrow the lane. Narrow the lane. Go back to sourcing your business, look at where your business came from, narrow the lane. Here's how narrow my lane is. I'm on coaching calls because I don't coach people, I'm being coached. I still have role play partners and script practice partners, which by the way, I hate the activity, but I love the people. So when you're in a situation from 9:30 to 11 a.m., this is all script, role play, mindset, blah, blah, blah. 9 through 11, I'm calling 5, 5, 5. 5 of my current customers, 5 of my past customers, 5 people I've never done business with. Maybe they're in the sphere, center of influence, vendor affiliation, whatever. But I need to call them in that order. I have to call my current customers first. They need to know I'm working on getting their home sold. 5 of your past clients, they need to hear from you. They want to hear from you. And then 5 people I don't know. Candidly, I've been doing this for about a month now because I had to narrow the lane. I'm averaging 9. Not 15, 9. Averaging 9. But this is what I need to get in, to narrow the lane. I think if you can create the analogy that the more narrow the lane, the farther you'll go, versus the wider the lane, the slower you'll go. The shorter you'll go. You'll go like this. There's more emotion, more drama. Remember that people need to be recognized too. Like, she does great work. We want to recognize her. She does great work. We want to recognize her. They have, along with the MCA and the productivity coach, the 4 toughest jobs in the Market Center. So congratulations to you. You have to inspire them, right? Because they go to bed at night worrying about you. That's what they do. They wake up worrying about you. They probably believe more in you than you may believe in yourself at one time. So we have to pour back into them, right? Look for the moments when they need to say, hey, what's going on? I'm sorry about the dog. Let's get you back in the game, right? 8-month-old child now, right? It's a hard job. Thank you for lifting us up. What can I do to lift you up today? Let's bring them back up. Let's recognize them. Question before I look for this radio ad. Okay, look for the radio ad here. Hopefully, we can hear the radio ad. The radio ad is not designed to impress you. It's just designed to impress upon you how important you are in the customer's mind and the markets you serve. So let me see if I can play this.
Welcome to Ask the Expert. We're talking real estate this holiday season with Brady Sandahl of Brady Sandahl Real Estate Group at Keller Williams. Brady, who's buying real estate this holiday season?
People who want to escape from colder climates, people who want to start off the year living in something new and different, and people who want to increase their wealth are all buying real estate right now.
How do you find these buyers?
Every day, our ladies and gentlemen are on the phones, networking throughout the valley and reaching out across North America to find buyers, while our creative marketing team launches local and national online campaigns to attract buyers.
Is your track record of finding buyers a reason why sellers hire you to sell their property?
Yes, sellers do hire us because they know we'll bring buyers to their property. And sellers also hire us for the way we'll show their property, meaning we don't use or rely on log boxes. Instead, our ladies and gentlemen stage the property before that buyer arrives and are there to explain how the features of the property benefit them. And when the showing ends, we communicate the results to the seller so they're informed and never left in the dark. This is all part of our Ritz-Carlton style customer experience.
Thanks, Brady. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're planning to make a move within the next year, simply call Brady Sandahl Real Estate Group at 760-409-1540. That's 760-409-1540 or visit them at BradySandahl.com. Brady Sandahl Real Estate Group at Keller Williams.
What did you hear in that?
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, what else did you hear? Yes, buyers buy right now.
It seemed like more of an experience where, you know, if you don't just do lit showings, you know, your people are there for your clients and they get follow-up ASAP instead of being left in the dark. That's
So
like
sellers are never left in the dark. Right. So when you're in conversation, and this is about luxury language,
And also the concierge service.
concierge service.
People show up before getting the house ready for the show. Very Ritz-Carlton experience.
Yes, so we want to slow down the conversation. You may have noticed during our conversation today, I'm more apt to pause. And then I have to add a little humor because A, you're falling asleep or you're nervous about conversations around cash flow. So when you're in front of your buyers and your sellers, your ladies and your gentlemen, look for the cues and the clues. Right? Look for the cues and the clues. So on that note, thank you so much for allowing me to come for you.